everyone, it's Squirrel. So today we're going to be taking out our first item out of Nook. So I thought I'll start off with an essential that I have when I am on set as standby props. So this is one of two kit bags, but for the sake of my brain and everybody else, this is called Skippy. So Skippy is a mix of my tools and also a sort of onset stationary kit. So what I might do is I'll just take you through a few things, but then I'll show you on this side, hopefully on the screen, I'll be able to show you just a layout of what I've got in my kit. So in the tools side, I've got things like screwdrivers, I've got drills, I've got levelers, you can see at the front here, I've got screws, drill bits, all those, you know, typical, what are they called, wrenches, and I've also got like a little container that is full of different drill pieces, so screw heads. So it varies from like hex head bits to the square end bits. I'm sure there's a technical name. Again, I'm not very great with tools, but it's things that are additional that I might require. So I'll have a little bit of a pull out and show you a few things. Okay, so some items that I have on set, definitely important, are things like drills. So this one, you actually put the drill bits in. This one is my impact driver. So that's a really quick and easy one that I can adjust the head for things like screws, screwdriver bits. So my lovely little box here, which I've collected over the years, has things like hex head bits. We've got the bits like this, which is like the square end. I'm sure there's a technical name, but I'm not very good at those things. And the old trusty Phillips head. So these are really good to have, and I also keep spare bits of screws that might be randomly required, or if I collect along the way items that I take off a sign, I'll put them in there for safekeeping, then I put it back. So that's kind of like my little collection there. This guy I bought recently, which is just like a handy one to have on my person. All these things are from like warehouse shops, so Bunnings, Mitre 10. I'm a Ryobi person. A lot of my film industry people are Makita, but I have all my stuff as Ryobi, which is very handy. So all these bits, this is a bit of a mess, but that's my Ryobi, oh my God, my Ryobi drill bits, which are half broken, half missing, so I might need to upgrade it. And then I've also got extra bits of screw heads that I need for whatever reason, because you never know what you need to screw. So that's all the screw technical parts. So one thing I forgot, screws, very, very helpful things. So those go into my screw technical part. This guy is my little tool kit, which has all my tools. If I can open it, there we go. Very, very handy. So as you can see, it has an array of tools, things from a paint opening device for a tin, different types of screwdrivers. I got this one which has an ability that you can change in and out your screw pieces. So if you have to do a quick changeover and you don't have your screwdriver on you quickly, these are always handy to have, because you never know when you need to just grab things, pliers and stuff like that. Oh, some more beautiful tools. Now I know that everyone's just going to be like, oh, that's a something tool. Sure, tell me, because I'm actually not that great with tools. I've sort of been forced into being a tradie, which is half of what I do as a job. So I just have collected stuff that I know that I've seen other people use. So if you want to help out and tell me, oh, that's a something tool, perfect, I know exactly what it's for. But they're just stuff that I've collected over the years, which have helped me along the way, and it's also just handy to have. There's more tools in the back of my van, but these are ones to have on set with me. So this is my on-set bag. Cool. So I'll just roll that guy up. Again, more tools. So it does get a bit heavy, but I've got a trolley and stuff to help push around set, so I'm not carrying it everywhere. The other thing is good old measuring tape. Never know what you need to measure. And then mono. Mono is, other words, fishing line, but this is quite fair fishing line. So mono is really helpful for when I'm having to create say a door closing, but there can't be a person in shot, I can tie it to the door and I can be the one that closes it in case it needs to be closed. Other thing could be rustling of the trees or anything like that. So it's little bits and bobs that you just gather, and you never know when you're going to use it, but it's really helpful to have on set. Mono is also good for hanging pictures, so our set deck team might hang some pictures on the wall, and then I need to adjust the height, and the only way that I can adjust it quickly is to have something like this on me, so I can just quickly feed it through and then hang it when I need to hang it. I've got some sandpaper from very, very coarse to very, very fine. Sandpaper is really useful for when I have to age something really quickly. For example, rip off a piece. These guys here, they're really shiny, but if I need to quickly get in there and age it up, you can already see it's sort of buffed out a little bit. So you can see the shiny side, you can see the buffed out side. So that's something really helpful to have. And then you've got the coarser type of sandpaper, which is just good for just getting really, really gruff with it. But normally the finer one's better because that's really quick aging stuff. These guys are golf tees, so you can sort of see them. These are really helpful for marking out cars that are on grass. So when we have a picture vehicle, which our vehicles coordinator was sort, they tend to do a little triangle shape on the wheels. So if the car needs to drive off and we have to reset it again, we know exactly where it is in place. But if we're on grass, you can't really draw chalk on grass. So that's what I've got these for. So I can just put a little stub in there and be like, there's the little orange marker in the floor, and then we can try and line it up there. So that's what those are for. What else have I done here? These guys are my mini screwdrivers. Mini screwdrivers are very helpful for little tiny screws. I don't know if it goes as small as glasses. Oh yeah, it does. It goes small as glasses. So any little miniature screws, a lot of it's for like electronic devices if I need to quickly unscrew for batteries and things. So that's what those are for. So you can sort of see this side is just completely tools related. So it's quick, easy tools that I can access on the day. I don't have to run all the way back to my van to collect. So that is the tool side of Skippy. Alright, so Skippy's been flipped around. So now we're onto the stationary side. So the stationary, I keep things like whiteboard markers, very helpful for any time that we have a whiteboard on set. And it's just good because it's got a variety of colours, so in case they decide that they want to have some kind of different colours marked up on the board. The other thing is a variety of different push pins for like things like maps and graphics that might be put on the wall, especially if you're in a set like a police station or something like that. They like to put a bunch of graphics on there, and in case the pins fall out, I've got backup pins. The other one is a good old Stanley knife, or you can just get a normal cutting blade. These are really helpful for when you're doing any graphics. You need to have a ruler so you don't go bleh. And it's really good to have quick access to cutting down pictures or sizes of things. You never know when you have to require them. Along with your scissors. I've got so many. I normally have a pair of scissors on me, on my belt, which I'll show one time. But these are just extra scissors because you never know when you need scissors. These are all you never knows because it's very, very, very complicated amount of stuff. I like these ones. These are like a little mini file set. So I can quickly work down things that are very small. So for example, I use those hospital patient bracelets. Because we're going to have to take them off cast, I work the file inside of the clip, so then I can quickly release and unrelease if I need to have, if I've only got one of them, so then I can take it off the cast without having to cut it. So those kind of things. So they're really, really, really helpful to get into like little spaces. More pliers. These are like my Posca markers, but you can get, not non-Posca marker brand because it is a little bit expensive, but they're really, really helpful. These are basically paint and a pen. So you never know. I keep saying you never know because you never know. Paint and a pen's really good because if you need to cover any logos that you're allowed to put paint on, it's really quick and easy, and it dries within reason. So those are good, really Posca markers. Elastic bands, variety of sizes and shapes. I think this is my biggest one, huge. Elastic bands are good for general use in props, for when you are gathering a whole bunch of props together, elastic band it together. It's also good for creating labels for characters. So if you have a little label tag, you can elastic band onto it. Very useful tool. This stuff is called Sticky Joe stuff, but we call it snot. And you'll see why. So if I can get that open, look, you can see there, it's a double-sided, it's almost like a blue tack, but a really sturdy blue tack. So it's really helpful for sticking anything really together. I wouldn't recommend sticking it on a wall, especially because the paint might come off, but it's good for signage. So if you're sticking like a metal sign onto metal, it can hold quite strongly. So it's a really strong blue tack is probably the best way of describing it. The other thing, stapler. I've had many people in other departments saying, where's the stapler? Because you never know. Again, you never know. Scraper, very good. He's a little bit rusty. He's been in the elements. Scrapers are good for removing stickers off things, but you just have to be careful so you don't scratch the surface. But those are really, really good to have. And then you've got some more pliers, wire cutters. So that's a variety of stationery. I've also got my backup chalk, if I can get out. Oh. Lovely chalk for, like I was saying, marking those cars. Chalk's very, very helpful to have. The other thing I have as well are these beautiful secateurs for cutting back branches. Obviously, make sure that if you're at a location that they want to cut a tree or branches, please make sure that you check in with locations first, that you're allowed to do that. You don't want to just go hacking at someone's bush, especially if you're out in the bush. There's a lot of Indigenous communities that get really upset when we start cutting things down, so we have to get permission first. So don't just go cutting things. Make sure you check in with the locations department and say sorry to country for cutting all your trees. Another scraper, very helpful. And then the other thing at the very end, which I discovered is my favorite thing, it's a foldable lighter. So these are really helpful for candles, all those things, but it's also good for when you're doing fire rigs. So you can set your little lighter down, set it on, run away. But they're very helpful to be folded. I would recommend folded because I had ones that weren't folded before and they broke. Just because the amount of stuff that you're pushing around, it starts to move the bags and it actually got damaged. So folding ones are really good. And I think that's pretty much it. And markers, pens, all those things are really good. I've got pencils, I've got Sharpies, I've got fine liner pencils, because with being on set, you never know how much you're going to have to do, because sometimes you got your script, like I was mentioning the previous episode, and then there's just so much more that you have to add. So it's good to have bits and bobs on you. I'll show you my stationery box. This is so much less than my stationery box, and there's a reason why I don't take the box out with me, because it is heavy. So these are the reduced version. So my kit bags are reduced versions of things, and then I've got the stock basically in my van to sort of top it up. So yeah, that's pretty much Skippy. So Skippy is really helpful to have my onset stationery and onset tools with me. So thank you. Before I pack up, guys, I forgot one important element. This is my branch trimmer. It's a bit of a beast, but my God, it is so helpful. So again, with checking locations about cutting down branches, but this guy's really helpful if you don't have access to a chainsaw. So this one, I probably should give it a name. So maybe give it a name, guys. Let's figure it out. It's kind of like toothy. So yeah, that's the additional guy. All right, see you next week.